All right, I took the day off of work. It's time to finally set aside some time for the YJ. Oh. So there she is, the Wagoneer Dana 44 is out. Sometimes it's harder to get the old stuff out before you even start. So we got pretty much everything off now. I need to mark everything so I know where the new stuff's gonna go, and we gotta start cutting all the old stuff off. So this is definitely not the fun part. So there should be enough movement in this shock to go forward with our new stretch. It's gonna be tight. We're gonna make it work for now. Got our brake caliper hanging up, and these are the important markings. You can see this one lines up straight with where the leaf spring hanger is currently at, and then this line right here, 4 inches below that is where the eye is. So I wanna keep everything the same for this. I just wanna move it out 4 inches. So this is the 4-inch line. Right here where they intersect, that's where the eye needs to be. So it needs to be in line with this, and it needs to be 4 inches down from right here. Same thing on this front side. I'm only moving this out a 1/2 inch forward, so it's very little. I've got a marking underneath here that lets me know side to side how far it needs to go. It's kind of a faint line, but you can see this right here is dead center is 31 inches apart, and then if you add a 1/2 inch on the outboard sides, it gets us a 32. That's the key thing, because that's what we've been fighting this whole time with these leaf springs needing to be outboarded. All things considered, this is a pretty easy job, especially compared to some of the other stuff I do, but it's the cutting, the grinding. Oh my gosh, it takes forever to get this stuff off. It makes a huge mess. I just now finished up. It's actually been a couple hours, believe it or not. What's next? Here are the new shackle hangers. These get a piece of 2 put in the middle, but you can see those black lines. That's the center line. We've got to remember to outboard this thing 1/2 inch. And then here's the spring hanger. Got a line down there. Also has to go 1/2 inch outboard to make sure everything's lined up. The eye of this spring hanger needs to be on this line, and then this horizontal line, it needs to be 4 inches below that. So my initial thought was to just mount this up like that, but this is only 2.5 inches below that line. So it's an 1.5 inches shorter, which means we're gonna lose about 3/4 of an inch, which I actually like. The problem with that is because this is higher on the back and the front's gonna be relatively close, it's gonna roll forward the axle and give us a little bit of, I think that's positive caster, which I don't want because everything's riding really well on the road. So I'm gonna have to do something a little tricky. I'm gonna have to kind of like angle the front of the spring hanger down, brace it, and then box it in on the side. So it's definitely gonna be a little bit more work. Overall, I think it's gonna be better in the long run. So now we've got to start getting everything lined up and make sure it's just perfect after we tack it on so we can burn it in and start putting everything back together. I'm just exhausted now. I had to take a little break, man. Even though it's cold out, I was just feeling overheated and dehydrated. But we got a lot done. It doesn't really feel like it, but sometimes this part just takes a long time. Now that all of that part is done, finally swept up all those leaves and stuff on the ground so we can have a clean surface to lay on, not get those little metal splinters in us. I'll show you what we're working with right now. I got to move the tires because I had to get them out of the way. Now they're blocking what I need. Oh yeah, not a lot of light, but so that's what it looks like on spring hanger. I have some more plate that I'm basically just going to cut this triangle out. Maybe it'll be like a square kind of shape, and just weld it all in, box it all in so it's nice and strong. Lined up really nice. So both the spring hangers and these shackle hangers are from Rough Stuff. They come with all the bends and stuff, obviously, but you do have to weld them up. This stuff is all 1/4 inch, so it's pretty beefy. I'll be boxing in the spring hanger with 3/16, but I just have a ton of it. That's why I use it so much. So gonna continue with that. Tires are on the vehicle. They don't seem that big, but then when you're like wheeling them around, I mean, they just feel huge all the time now. Lined up with our 1/2 inch stretch, outboarded 1/2 inch to give us a 32 inch outboarding. So finally our springs are going to line up with the axle. Our leaf springs and shackles aren't going to be all tweaked. So speaking of leaf springs, we didn't get to that part today. I think what we're going to do is just do the same thing we did for the back. We're going to take out this second leaf and save it, and then we're going to clean up all the leaves in this pack, paint them, put it back together. The bushings actually look pretty good. One part of them got a little bit of like a sliver taken off, so I'm just gonna cut that off and run them again because they actually look good. Got the Dana 44 bracket all cut off. Man, that bandsaw was a huge time saver. I've never used one before. Usually when I'm cutting on frames or axles, I usually use a really thin cutoff wheel and then go over it with a flap wheel. You end up having to hammer a bunch of it off, or using a chisel to get it off. So much easier with that bandsaw. My buddy Corbin let me borrow it. I probably owe him a new blade now because I just did so much cutting today, but yeah, love it. Another fun part with this is you have to shave down the remaining part of the inside and a little bit on the nut for the ball joint to be able to get that bell in there. Oh man, it's a lot of work. If you watch the videos of other guys doing that, it takes them forever too, and they know theirs can fit. So I'm at this point where like I'm not really sure how much I need to take off. I'm trying to watch the videos and seeing how much these other people have taken off, and it's a considerable amount. I almost wish I had my aftermarket 44 knuckles just so I don't have to do this again someday. If this takes a really long time or I don't ever get it done, I think what I'm gonna have to do is just pull the ball joints and pull the knuckle all the way off and try to install them that way. That's also not an easy way. You do have to do some trimming of the C, trying to minimize the amount of cutting doing on the C. Oh man, good news is I'm running a 38. The axle shafts are warranted up to a 40. So sounds like RCV has a lot of confidence that they're not gonna break, at least not before the ring and pinion. We'll see. Hopefully I never have to replace them because this is not fun. Anyways, guys, the garage is thrashed as usual. Got our multiple projects going on and a million parts for the Jeep on the hood, but we're gonna have to continue this some other time because it's getting late. Everybody's relaxing after work. I need to go relax myself. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. I'm really looking forward to having this Jeep stretched and just see what the ride's gonna be like with our new shackle setup, with our new leaf spring setup, and with that axle pushed out 4 inches. So hopefully we're gonna get some noticeable improvements on just the off-road ride, the on-road ride, but I'm really looking forward to some more articulation as well. So thanks for sticking with us. We will see you in the next video where we put all this back together, and hopefully it's gonna look pretty awesome. See you guys.